Okay, so I do want to share with you all, again, I am recording this session. It will be in the online teaching resources. And this is going to be one of those sessions where I am going to ask for questions at strategic times. So if you want to put them in the chat, that's fine, but I'm going to be asking Monique, if you can kind of wait until I say, are there any questions? And then you can ask them for me. So that I can get through a demonstration about how something works. And then if there are still questions, I can answer them there. Because Canvas is a gigantic topic. It is just absolutely a big, big topic. And some of you here today may be really knowledgeable about Canvas, and others of you may not have very much knowledge at all. And so we're at all very different places, and I'm hoping that I can share something that everybody will find valuable today. I will be covering grading in Canvas at length in that tutorial. I'll touch upon it just a little bit today, but there will be more in the grading for Canvas if you have not attended that. All right, so the first thing that I would like to point out is that Cerritos College has a tremendous amount of support for Canvas if you know where to look at it. So there's a Canvas self-paced course, and all of these, I want to remind everybody that anytime you see something underlined that tells you that that is a link elsewhere. So the Canvas self-paced course here is, oops, I opened the wrong thing, although I will be opening this in a minute, sorry. The Canvas self-paced course, which I started to open up, and it is from @1, it's right here. It is a fantastic course to get you started with Canvas. And so if you feel like you are very much a beginner in teaching with Canvas, I have that link right here, this Canvas self-paced course. It's right there, and it will take you to this page, and then you can just link on it right here. And it is based on @1, which is the gold standard for using Canvas. So the login, though, that's required is just your login from Cerritos College. And so when I opened it opened up right away. I didn't even have to sign in because I was already signed in on my computer. So I'm not going to take you through this, but like I said, I cannot recommend this enough. If you feel like you are an intermediate user, you may still want to go in here and take a look. There may be a lot of wonderful things to learn. I actually plan on, when I have a moment, to go in here and run through it myself, because there are always things being updated on Canvas. And I do want to share with you that my Canvas understanding is over 10 years old. Pasadena City College, which was where I attended college and I started teaching very first, they use Canvas very much in its infancy. And I was on the committee for the state to help choose this as our state CMS or LMS. And CMS stands for Course Management System. LMS stands for Learning Management System. They're interchangeable. And so I just want to let you know that I've been using Canvas for a very long time, but there's certain aspects of Canvas that have been updated that I'm not always, I don't always understand that it's there. So I'm constantly having to look and poke around. And I want to encourage you on Canvas to poke around and look at things. All right, so the next thing that I wanted to show you is that there are Canvas tutorials. Okay, and these are tutorials that the CTX put together, and they're very specific. So adding captions to Converse Zoom, Canvas Jumpstart, the Canvas guides, and even using some, how to prevent Zoom bombing. I actually spoke with an instructor this morning who's in my @1 class who teaches at Cerritos College, and he said day one he was Zoom bombed. So how to prevent that. I think we've moved ahead with using passwords and that kind of thing. But there's all sorts of things, even like Proctorio and PlayPosit and Pronto. All of these things, CTX continues to update tutorials. These are written tutorials, and then there are also video tutorials. So I wanted to point that out to you. Furthermore, there are online teaching guides, and that is a link to this page where if you have questions about teaching and you're not able to come to my Monday session, or you want to have a really long conversation with somebody who is able to have that longer conversation, there are online teaching guides in every single area. So you can go to Health Occupations, for instance, and there is somebody here that you can make an appointment. And Kristen Tohid here is, if you want to make an appointment, you email her and say, I'd like to make an appointment with these online teaching guides. So please take advantage of these people who are here to support you right on campus, excuse me. And then there are Canvas mentors. And this group of people was put together right away, like within 24 hours of us going into the pandemic. We have our Canvas mentors, and I'm not considered to be an online guide, in this, but you open up liberal arts, if you look at English, I'm here as an English Canvas mentor. But there are many Canvas mentors depending on who was willing. So you can go and look at your area and see if there are Canvas mentors here. And I'm looking here, and in math, we have Laura and Angela. So for example, so I just wanted to link these all here in one handy dandy place so that you could take advantage of the support that you have here at the college. I then want to share with you that there are Canvas tutorials on Canvas, on YouTube itself, from the Canvas LMS, and they are constantly updating. And so even look at this one, was just 16 minutes ago, getting started with Canvas data. So you can actually look through all these different videos, increase engagement with Canvas Studio quizzes, okay? So there's all sorts of tutorials here that you can take a look at in using all the different elements on Canvas itself. So let's say you're really good with one thing, but you want to look up a particular topic. I like to look at videos. So a lot of times I will go to YouTube, and for instance, I learned, I did not know this, I wasn't paying attention, but in Zoom, there's an annotation tool, which I did not know. And I'm just gonna illustrate it to you right now. I was very surprised that there was an annotation tool. And so the annotation tool allows you to draw, and you can draw things thick, you can make them small, you can use arrows, you can circle things. Well, I thought you could circle things, but anyway, I guess I chose the line instead of this. Here we go. Now I'm gonna circle something. I didn't know there was the annotation tool. I just didn't pay attention to it, and I've been using Zoom forever. You can actually use a spotlight too. So if you want to spotlight something, although I guess let's try.
Well, sometimes it's not that easy to use, but anyway, there you go.
It's not always, it's not always easy to use, but it's something to consider. So it's nice to know that you have it there.
Seems like the drawing part is a little wobbly for me. I don't know why, but it just doesn't do my. I'm used to doing things freehand. I can't do it with this stuff.
Right. And it takes practice, but you look at these circles, these are not exactly super neat circles either, Leon. So it's not perfect, but at least it's something I didn't know. Like if you were going to show people things, you can actually show them by using that annotation tool. So anyway, and Sigma's on here. All right. And thank you.
Sorry.
No, No, isn't that great though? Everybody,
Yeah, actually.
who knew? Who knew?
Oh,
I did not.
I discovered it by accident completely. I'll be honest with you. I thought, this is like a monkey see, monkey do type of stuff. I just saw it and it's okay. This is neat. Let's try this. And there you go. But I still feel kind of uncomfortable because I'm writing all over the place. I scribbled rather than, do
Well,
this.
but you can also use shapes and other things. But anyway, that was the point
Okay.
was,
Well,
Leon.
I get it.
No, but the point for this though that I wanted to share is that
Yeah.
just like with Zoom, Canvas has all those little nooks and crannies too. All these little secret things that if you don't take a look at them, you may not know that they're there. So there's these tutorials to, I like to take a look and see what the tutorials are because I may not know what the tutorials are, right? I may not even know what's available because things are constantly updated. But either which way, the videos are here and I have linked them in my presentation, okay? So what I want to do, this is kind of funny. Now I have to figure out how do I get rid of the annotation because it's following me from page to page. So I'm going to stop share for a minute and I will share again in 1 second. That's kind of funny. All right, so no, and it's not the end of our presentation, although that's kind of funny. All right, so let's go back and so we're done here. I'm joking, we're done here. We are done with my presentation part of it in the SlideShare, but I am now going to take you to an actual Canvas class. That's a practice Canvas class. And Monique, I have a favor to ask of you. And I have a favor for everybody else. This is what I call my Practice 2020 class. And if you would like to be added to my Practice 2020 class, I don't even have everything updated exactly how I would want to do it even now. Like I constantly am updating things and I would change this right here into a button that I've made on Canva. But if you would like to join my Practice 2020 page, in the chat, can you just put your name and then I'm going to ask Monique to be able to collect the names so that I can then invite you as a teacher if you want to look at some sample items, okay? But today I'm using the Practice 2020 page to illustrate to you certain things about Canvas, okay? So the first thing that I would like to share with you is that we have a global menu bar. And one of the nice things about our global menu bar, this blue menu bar, is that this is the same regardless of whatever class you are in. It's the same. You have your account, you can go to the dashboard and choose a class. You can go to courses, which gives the names of the classes. And if you want to choose to star certain classes, you can go to courses and I'm opening it up. There's certain things I'm going to open up and certain things I'm not, but I just want to show you, you can go to all courses here and decide which courses are going to show up in your dashboard. I know that some people who are taking the small online book seminar, they were very worried because they could not find our Canvas course. Well, the reason would be is whether something is starred or not. So Adrian, I think you're here today. I believe I saw your name. I didn't need your sandbox to show up on my dashboard. So it's unstarred, right? But I did want to have, because I'm in this committee, Africana Studies degree, I wanted this to show up, so it's starred. So you can click it and star it or unclick it. But the only way you can get to this place is by going to courses and choosing more, okay? Now let's say you're here and you're like, I want to go back to where I went. I'm going to go to, and you can also start a course. This is one place where you can start a course, and you can also start a course on your dashboard. and you can start practice courses as well. So I'm going to go to my dashboard right now, and I'm going to show you. You're going to see that I have a whole bunch of, I have a big long list of things here. You're going to see a big to-do list that I'm ignoring right this second. You scroll down past your to-do class and you can go to start a new course. So you can create your own course from scratch. And we're going to go here, but not yet. I want to start in my practice 2020. So I need to find where it is. And I'm going to show you where you can upload these different pictures if you want. I call them a course card, so that when I am looking for it on my computer and I can put it in, I will show you how to add that as well. So I'm going to look for my practice 2020. There it is. So I want to share with you that if you're in my practice 2020 class, I want to show you something. Always be curious. So I'm going to click on these 3 dots right here. You can change the color. So I'm just going to change a color here, and you can give it a nickname that's different if you want. You can move where it shows up if you would like. And whatever it is you choose to do, then you click on apply. So whatever changes you make, you always need to save and you need to apply. So I'm going to click on it right here and open it back up. And as always on Zoom, there's just more going on. You can choose what your home page is. So you can decide to have a home page if you want, but you can also decide to have your syllabus be your home page, or an assignment list be your home page, or the course modules, or the course activity stream. Usually people choose between either the pages or the course modules, okay? And you can change your front page from time to time as well. And I will show you how to do that actually just right now. So I'm going to keep it as the pages being my front page. And I'm going to show you how you can change your front page. I like to label my pages for myself because I do change front pages. So you open up pages, it will take you to your front page, but I'm going to go to where it says view all pages. And you can add a page here, but you can delete pages, etc. But I'm going to scroll down until I see something that I'm going to show you. I always like to put, this is my, just as a note to me, this is my first front page, my second front page, my third front page for me, just so that I know, so that I can remember to change it out and which one to do. So if you want to, you can, let's see, you can go to the dots here. Always look at those dots, and you can choose use as front page. Okay. I also want to point out that you can always duplicate, and everything that you see on Canvas, from pages to assignments to announcements to discussion boards to quizzes, the space that they have and how you use that open space is always the same, and you can always decide to duplicate. Why might you want to duplicate? Well, once I've set up my front page the way that I like it, with the banners and the visuals and the buttons and all of that, I like to keep the structure the same, but change some of the content. So I might duplicate it so I don't have to repeat all of those steps to create that same front page as I used for the last one. And then I can go in and edit it and change the details of the content for my next unit. So I use this duplicate button quite a bit. I use the duplicate for pages, for discussions, for assignments. I use it an awful lot, duplicate, because once I set something up the way that I want it, I then duplicate and change the content within just a little bit of change, as opposed to doing all of these bells and whistles many, many times. But you can change your front page as often as you would like. So now I do want to show you a couple of things in settings, okay, about your course. So you have a course in Canvas, and the settings are very important. And so what's going to happen, I'm going to move, excuse me, my daughter cannot listen to her math class because I am too loud. I'm going to stop my video for a minute, and I am going to move and be less loud. So I am now in the settings, and you notice that image right there. That is a GIF, and you can always look up a GIF and save those. I know it looks like GIF, and I know people call them GIFs, but if you look up what the person who created it, how he likes to pronounce it, it is pronounced GIF. Either which way, however you want to call it, I sometimes will create my own GIF, and then other times I will use one already. And one of the reasons why I like to do this is that this course card not only helps students in knowing what my class is, and I think it looks nice, it also is a good visual for me to find my class quickly that I want to find in the dashboard. All right. I am back in my dungeon here in my bedroom so that my daughter can hear her math class. All right, so let's scroll down. If there's no time zone chosen, it's a good idea that you do choose a time zone. For the classes, you know, Cerritos normally would have that already chosen, but it's important that you have this chosen if it's not there, especially if you have due dates and times when assignments close. Okay, you can have a start date and an end date. And let me just show you this little square here. It says students can participate in the course between these dates. Sometimes teachers and sometimes schools like to have it be where students can only participate between certain dates. But I will share with you, I like to open up my classes a little bit early. And so I always double check. I don't think Cerritos has that. They might. I'd have to double check before a semester, or you can even, well, you can check in your class at any time. But anyway, I like to be able to allow students to take a look at my class a few days early. But you can restrict students from viewing this course after a particular end date. And usually teachers like to do that so that students don't go back and share materials with other students in future classes. So that's something to think about. So I'm going to scroll down here, and I'm going to show you this more options. Under more options, you can allow students to see recent announcements on the course homepage. And some teachers like this, and some teachers do not. I do like it. And you can choose 3 announcements. You can choose 2 announcements. You can allow students to attach files to discussions. I like to make sure that this is checked. I also like to allow students to edit or delete their own discussion posts. I think that that's only fair. Maybe they've written something and then they've changed their mind about it. You can allow students to organize their own groups if you want. And one thing that I like to disable are comments on my announcements, because if I allow comments on my announcements, unless there's a particular reason why I want them to respond right there, I'm not notified that there's a response on the announcement, and so I don't tend to look there, and I would miss messages. So whatever it is you want to choose, this is the more. I don't know why they just don't let us scroll down, because this is the end of the game here. And whatever you do, you update the course settings. So you have to make sure, even if you've chosen something, that you update. And there are other tabs here, such as sections and navigation. Navigation is a really important one. And I want to share with you that you are able to use all of these items here in the course navigation column here. You can use them, but you may not want students to use them or have access to them or see them. So for example, I like to have students go into the modules and that they follow the order of things that I give them. Now, I do want to tell you, technically, if students go to grades and you have assignments that are published, or you have assignments that are open where they can participate and turn something in, students will sometimes go into Canvas this way and sneak through and get to things that you don't want them to get to. So that you're always going to have that loophole there. But so I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about thinking about how you want to handle that particular issue. But either which way, unless there are certain things you want them to use and see on that front page, on that column there, I highly recommend that you drag them down. Okay, so if I didn't want the students to see the library, I could drag it down, I could put it up. What's great is I can reorganize too. So if I want the announcements to go down here, I can. And in fact, there is, I need to find the video. There's a video, you can actually create your own item to put here. And I need to find that and send that out. That is actually a neat thing. So if you wanted to name your own item and then put it here and have it be a link to something, like let's say you're using curriculum from a particular vendor, maybe you're using it for science or math or history, you can actually put a link to their curriculum, however you want to link it, right here in the navigation. Okay, now just because these items are here doesn't mean that you can't use them. It just means that students won't be able to click on them themselves. All right, Monique, are there questions about the settings for right now?
So we have two questions, and one of the questions, and I'm not sure if you want to answer this right now, but one of the questions said, can you post the link to the Canvas video tutorial?
That will happen in online teaching resources. And so what will happen is next Monday when I send out my announcement, or Sunday, you will have this video. Yes.
Okay, and the second question is, how do you add alt text to the course card image?
Okay, there isn't alt text for the course card that I know of, but let's take a look. Yeah, there's no, let's say I want to choose an image. I'm going to open that up. There isn't any. But I don't think you really need it because it tends to be decorative anyway. Okay, but I will, we saw today how to add alt text to the other images, but that's a good question. And that could be something for Canvas too, but usually it's not that big of a deal. It's more decorative, and students are going to be looking for the title if they can't see. Okay, there will be the key terminology there. Okay, so
and
now
go ahead. 2 questions, Janet.
Yes.
Is there any plans on creating a Canvas self-paced class that the students will be required to take before taking an online class? I posted links to Canvas, but some students did not view.
Okay, so let me share with you. I sure hope so. Okay, part of our responsibility as online instructors in giving students an orientation is helping to orient them into your class and understand how to use the tools. And it is incredibly important, and I'm going to do a session on doing a good orientation. We were without a DE coordinator for quite some time, and while we're working on our digital learning committee, there are some things that we need to do, and that's one of those things that would be on my list, is that we have something for students to do before they take online classes. But we at Cerritos College do not have something specifically, but there is a way to create an orientation that requires them to go through what you need them to go through in terms of being in your class. I do want to remind everybody that going into a Canvas course is like being in a different town. So for example, if somebody is taking Sigma's class and then somebody else is taking Manuel's class and somebody's taking my class, it's like they're in different cities because we all have different expectations. And so it's really critical that we give students really clear and easy instructions to follow about how to be successful in our own individual classes. And part of that, though, is trial and error. You try to do it, and then you notice there's a lot of questions or students aren't doing what you wanted them to do. That lets you know, that's a signal, that's a cue that what you're doing is not working. So I will share with you that there are times when I do something new in my class and very few of the students have produced what I want them to produce. And when that happens, I see that as my error, my fault, and then I either give them more opportunities with better instructions or I take that assignment out. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Okay, I want to move on, if that's okay, Monique, so that I can show everybody everything the best that I can.
Yeah, we could wait till the end to ask the rest of the questions. But really quick, I did want to also mention that we do have readiness modules that are available to the students to view.
And Monique, if you're able to put a link to that in the chat, or that would be helpful.
I will provide directions on how to enable the readiness modules for each course.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you. That's helpful. All right. So we have, I just want to show you here. Now we're in Canvas modules. I clicked on modules here. And each one of these chunks is a module. And you can have a short module. You can have a long module, okay? You can have a module that has headings right here. These are headings, text headers, as guideposts for students, okay? So there's all sorts of things you can do to organize your modules. Some teachers like to organize their modules so that they are weekly modules. Some teachers like to organize their modules so that they are unit modules. I tend to do unit modules just because I want to have the whole unit available and open for students. And I want them to see it as one thing, and it's centering around that. But that's not what everybody does. People can do lots of good things for best practices. So I do want to show you that how do you start a module? Right up here, plus module. So you can add a plus module. You can put a module name, and you can actually lock a module if you want, so students can't open it. Or you can add a prerequisite, like they have to do this. Like let's say there's 2 modules and you have them both open because some people have finished with the first one and you want to get them to the second one. You can say, add a prerequisite that they need to make sure before they do XYZ, they have to do this particular thing. Okay, so that's one way to have a module opened up for students who are doing their work either early or ahead, and have it closed for others who are either on time or behind, but you want to give them some time to get caught up. Another thing to note is that you can click on and unpublish, and even though the assignments and pages here are published, the module is not. And when the module is unpublished, students can't see it. Every semester, I had say, hey, such and such is open, and all of these things are live, but I have forgotten to click on this, and I get an email from a student who says, oh, professor, it's not open, and I was, oh, thank you, and then I open it up, okay? I do want to share with you that when you put things into modules, these little dots over here allow you to drag. So you can drag and move things around any way you would like to. You can also make it where you complete a module and you put this little arrow here so that you know how to get to the next modules and go through and just keep it a little bit cleaner, okay? I also want to show you, so we're looking at the dots here, you can actually share a module, which I will share in another session as well. You can share a module with Commons. I like this for those of you who teach at more than one school. You can share a module to Commons, and I know, Monique, you talked about you can download it and save it too. I still kind of like to do this just because I name it something wonky, and then I'm able to get it right away into the other school's Canvas. And you can also, you know, look up modules from Canvas Commons right here that you can actually add to your own class. So if you've never looked at Canvas Commons, click on this, it takes you to Commons, and you can look at a lot of different things. I'm not going to open it up right this minute, but if you've never taken a look at Canvas Commons, you're missing out. There's a lot of wonderful things. All right, so I want to show you that this is just a sample orientation module that I have here. I have an opening page, I have links. These visuals tell you what they are. Here's pages and links, and here are activities. So I'm going to open one up. So this is a sample assignment, okay? And I want to showcase to you again that if I go to the three dots, you can look at the three dots that you can share to Commons, you can send to people if you want, you can make a copy. But I want to edit the assignment so that you can see what it is you can add, and I want to show you about adding alt text. Okay. So you may have heard in some sessions that there's an HTML editor, and if you click on the HTML editor, it's going to look like this. And there are some things that you can do with your HTML editor that down the line you may want to look at adding to your course. I just want to show you that it's here. I sometimes use it. I sometimes copy and paste different HTML code that somebody else has written so that I can add certain visuals. I just want to show you that it's here. I'm going to go back to the rich content editor. I want to show you right here that this is the same in a discussion, in a assignment, in a page. All of these things are here. And what's wonderful is you have the ability to create a table, to embed a video, to create a live link, to embed an image, okay? Insert a math equation. Have you ever inserted a math equation, Manuel? Or anyone from math? Has anyone ever inserted a math equation?
I'm sorry, I was muted. I have,
Okay.
and I don't like the equation editor that comes with Canvas,
Okay.
but you can add on this on the arrow that's that little down arrow. If you move
Right
the
here.
icons, yeah, there's
Yes.
external tools. Cerritos College has a license for a tool called equation math type, and it's a better. You wouldn't have it there. You have to have IT install it in your account,
That
and
would
then
be
it'll be
David
available.
Dunn.
But
David
yeah, it's
Dunn.
great. It's made a huge difference to be able to edit equations right in Canvas. I
Right.
find it very useful.
And
Yeah.
so math and science teachers, you might want to do that. Can you say that one more time, what it's called, Manuel?
The one I use is called Math Type, and I know the math department has a license. I'm sure IT can extend that if you're teaching science or you have use for it. It would be. I would recommend it over the equation editor that's built into Canvas.
Perfect. And I'm glad you shared this because these are the external tools.
Yes.
So there may be more external tools that the school has for specific numbers of faculty or departments or whatnot. And you can always ask Dave Gunn if there's a particular one, and then he can add it into your classes. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much. That was helpful.
I'll write the name in the chat.
Thank you. Thank you. And then you can actually record media here so you can respond, and so can students. Okay. And then you can decide on whether you're going to use paragraph or you're going to use headers. And in our accessibility session this morning and other accessibility sessions, we've talked about the importance of headers for students who are using screen readers. It's not enough to just click on something and highlight it and then change the font size. You can do that, but that doesn't help a screen reader. So it's really important that you use the headers that they offer, as well as there are bullets and a bulleted list and a numbered list. And also sometimes I have a bulleted list and I want to go back to not using a bulleted list. And so I can decrease the indent and it helps me to move back outside of bullets. Okay, so I'm going to click on this visual here and I'm going to go to image, and you're going to notice here that my alt text says assignment banner. So I just would say assignment, actually. You can decide if it's a decorative image, but it does say assignment on it, so I want them to notice that. And you can change the dimensions as you would like. The ratio always stays the same, okay? And when you're done, you can click update. If you have to add one, you want to add an image, you can go to Canvas and upload something that you want to use, or you can go to Flickr, okay? So I'm going to update that. And I want to show you again, I like to put lecture materials within my assignments. So if I had a page here or I have something here, I could actually embed something here if I wanted to. So I could go here, let's say there was a reason for me to do that. And if I wanted to, I could add a page there and it would show up and students could link to that page, which is actually very helpful. Okay. Other things that you can do with an assignment, you figure out how many points it's worth. You decide on the assignment group that you have. And if you weight your grades where high stakes assignments are worth a certain percentage points and homework assignments are worth another, you can weight your assignment groups. And I will show you that before we leave today. You can decide to display it as points, letter grade, a GPA scale, not graded, percentage, complete, incomplete. I like the idea about complete incomplete, but Manuel, like you, it takes longer to mark the complete incompletes. So I usually have it be points and let them know if you've, done the parameters and you've get the entire set of points. You can decide on submission types. Some people say, oh, only choose one, only choose one. I'm okay with choosing more than one. Sometimes there's a reason to choose more than one. But sometimes maybe you only want the text entry because you want a one sentence response or one phrase response or whatever it is. You can allow them to do a website URL or upload a file. You can decide on an assignment even, as well as quizzes, if they're going to get limited or unlimited attempts. Why you would give unlimited attempts is because a student may have uploaded the wrong thing or turned the wrong thing in and you want them to have an opportunity to resubmit. You can create groups and decide that something is a group assignment or not, which you can do with discussion boards, for example. And then it only shows for that particular group. You can require peer reviews. You can assign it to everyone, or you can choose to only assign it to a specific student or a group, okay? You can, then you can decide if you're gonna put a due date in there or not put a due date in there. Most people use the due dates. I am one of the few who doesn't use the due dates. My students don't always like it, but I don't care because I remind them several different times when things are due. And I don't like to have things change on there. So there's, pluses, minuses about the due dates.
No, my experience is that if you put a different date, sometimes it conflicts with the availability and all that stuff. Is that really the case, or can you get around it?
Right. I mean, and you can get around it by making it later, but you can make it due on a particular date, but not click these. You don't have to click everything that's here. Okay. You don't have to so you could put a due date, Leon, and let's say you're putting the due date of October 5th, but instead of having the available from and the available until, they can turn it in and it will be time stamped as late. So that's the way that you would get around it if you decide to use the due dates. You can also decide that something is available from a particular time and it's available until another time. And these are decisions that you have to think about, but I want to share with you that once you put these items in, you can't take them back out. So you have to decide if you want to have that be an element of your class or not. And down the line, I might go back to using the due dates. I just find them to be more problematic for me.
No, I got confused from the due date and the availability date of it.
Yes, the due date just says when it's due, but students can turn it in late, right? Okay. So you can have a due date, but you can decide you're not going to check on the available from or the available until, and then it's open and students can still turn it in, right? So they can turn it in late for some credit, okay? And then sometimes I make a mistake in an assignment. Like I had an assignment yesterday for Flipgrid, and the link that I was giving them was incorrect. And so a student emailed me to tell me that. And so I actually clicked on this where it says notify users that this content has changed. And I did that on purpose so that it would be an indicator to let people know that I fixed my error. I fixed my problem. So that's why you would choose to do that. I'm going to click on cancel here because I don't want that to be updated. But I want to show you this is an assignment, but you can also, again, you always want to be nosy. Be a nosy person in Canvas. So you can look at the 3 dots to see what choices you have. Okay, so I always look at the 3 dots to see. You can decide what I do. So if I don't want students to see something, I could unpublish it and then that way they can't get in it. But if somebody is, even one person has submitted something, I can't go back and unpublish it if they do that, okay? So if somebody turns something in, I can't unpublish it, but if they haven't, I can keep it unpublished if I want to, okay? So there are lots of choices within Canvas. You just have to decide which choices you want. And then you can also add a rubric. And you can add a rubric that you have used in the past. You can look and find a rubric. And what's the nice thing about Canvas is that they didn't used to do this. You used to have to forward these rubrics, but you can find a rubric from any class that you want, that you've done, and include it and add it here. Or you can create a rubric. And what's nice about this is that once you create the rubric, you don't have to create it again because it can be a little bit time consuming. And what I like to do is I like to have the rubric created in a Google Doc, and then I copy and paste the writing because I like to look at it as a whole. If you're just comfortable writing, you can. And you just click on the pencil and then you fill out the description. If you want to add more ratings, you can just go plus, and then you give it a rating title and a description, and you can continue to add more if you want to. Now, what's nice as well is that you can decide whether or not you want to use this rubric for assignment grading. I like to use this quite a bit where I will click, 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 and then in the assignment, it just shows based on those points in the rubric. Other teachers prefer to have the rubric so that students can see how they've done, and maybe they give them full credit if they followed the parameters, but they want to give them, okay, you did this really well, this you need to improve on. I'm not taking points off because you need to improve on it, but this is an indicator or a pointer that you need to improve. So you could actually remove the points from the rubric and have it just be there where you click in different items so that students have the written commentary about their work, okay? So once you make a decision about this, you create your rubric and you can utilize it, okay? So I'm gonna hit cancel there. Once you're ready to grade it, if you have a rubric, the rubric will show up, and you're not going to see a rubric because I didn't add one, but I want to show you where it is. This is the speed grader. The rubric itself would show right here, and you could use the rubric for the points, and then it would automatically populate or not. Another thing you could do too is you can make an audio or video comment for students to hear as opposed to typing in a comment. If you type in a comment, you can type it in and hit submit, but you do have to show students how to see those comments and how to access them in the grade book. A lot of times students don't know how to access it, so that's really an important thing to understand, that you can write a comment here, but students won't see it unless you've shown them how. So I want to go back and I want to show you just a moment in the grade book what that would look like. And I'm going to do it by hitting on student view. As we wait for it to open up. All right, and so let's see, this is what the student sees. They don't see everything that is here. They see those announcements, they can click right to them. I'm gonna go to the modules. And I am going to go to an activity, I'm gonna go to the grade book because this is what I wanted to show you. And what's gonna happen is you're gonna see all these items it's missing, right? But if there's a comment, students can click on the comment here, okay? So if there's a comment, that, you know, you want somebody to see, this is where the students would see the comments. So you need to be able to show them or send a little video. You can find a video in YouTube, how do I see comments on my assignments in Canvas? Or you can create your own using Zoom and showing students how to do that with a sample assignment in your class. And you could turn it in and you write a comment to yourself and then they can see it. Okay. I want to show you a few more things here about Canvas and about grades. Like I said, I have a longer session that I'm going to be doing on grading in Canvas, and I spend all that time, but I want to show you a couple of tips that are my very favorite tips that I use in Canvas. Okay, so again, I want to remind you, you should be clicking on all of these things here to see what they do. And there are, even though they don't show here, if you click over in this area, there are 3 dots here, okay? And you can click on these 3 dots and you can message students who, and you can also message, you can put a default grade if you mark the zeros first. So if I'm going to message someone who somebody hasn't submitted it yet, I can write a message and it comes out as an individual message to students, an individual email saying, this is a friendly reminder, this is due by tonight, or this is a friendly reminder, this was due last night, I will give you till tonight to do it, or whatever you want to do. And you can even change this here. You could also send a message to to those who did really well, those who scored more than 9 or whatever it is. And you can send a message that says, hi, I really appreciated your project. Here are some specific comments of things that I noticed.
I just noticed that it looks like there's a template on this one too. Is that correct, or am I?
Well, there's a template in that there's a subject line, yeah, but you still have to put the message in and you still have to send it. Okay. So you have to put your message in or nothing will go to them. So you put your message, whatever your friendly message is, and then you can send that message. So I use templated messages, absolutely, Leon. I have a Google Doc that has messages that I send to students just like this, just as to let them know as reminders. Again, you can, I'm going to go here, and you can set the default grade. And I'm just going to put the default grade. And I can set it, and then it's included here. And so the students' grades are all in here. Now, would I use that for an essay? No, no, not a high stakes project, but a low stakes project I would. Okay. All right. I want to show you discussion forums, and I want to show you quizzes. Now, because I'm the teacher, I can go to discussion forums from here. I also want to show you a couple things in assignments as well. So I can create a discussion. And one of the things that I like, this is great up here, you can search for a specific discussion so that you can find it quickly. I want to show you that these 3 dots over here are really important. You can decide to duplicate, or you can pin it, like this is one that you want students to pay close attention to. You can close it for comments so that students can see it. They can no longer comment on it, okay? So you could do that. And if I open up a discussion, and our next presentation is going to be on discussion forums, so I'm going to give you some ideas about discussion forums. But I have my discussion forum instructions here. And I have I'm going to show you this next time of things that I do. But for a discussion, you hit reply. If you want a thread, you can hit reply here. But I want to remind you that if I hit edit, that every single time, you're going to see the same space at the top where you can make choices about the content. And like I said, the page, the discussion, the assignment, they all have this at the top, and they all have blank space for you to type in. You can then choose to allow threaded replies. You can also choose to force people to post before seeing those replies. So like maybe you don't want them to see what other people are saying, that they have to first post. I usually like to let students know that you need to post first to see the conversation. You can allow liking, you can do graded, you can do a group discussion, and these things down below are just the same as a regular assignment. All right, so I want to show you something in assignments itself. It's really important. Okay, so we have our assignments. And again, I always want to tell you to please get nosy. So I like to do searches for assignments because once I set up a certain type of assignment, like I have a Padlet and I have a Flipgrid and I have like for certain readings or whatever, I look them up and then I duplicate them. So you can search for an assignment as opposed to having to scroll to find it. So if I wanted to look up, for example, I could look up Padlet, anything with Padlet in it, they're all here. So I could decide if I want to make that duplicate or not, and then change the information. Okay, so let's be nosy here. So over here, I've chosen to allow assignment group weights, which I do, which helps me not have to do any of the math. Some teachers like to have, okay, my class, there's 100 points total, and 10 points are going to be for the homework assignments, and 20 points are going to be for this, and 30 points are going to be for this. And if you take an assignment out, you have to add one in, so it totally equals this magical point value that you want. I like to weight assignments so that it's worth percentages. Now, there's always a plus and a minus. There's always a plus and a minus to that. The people who have, like, I have 1,000 points or I have 100 points, and so you know you've gotten the A when you've gotten to this many points. The plus for that is students understand their grades a little bit more. The negative to that is that you have to really pay attention how many points are delegated to high stakes versus low stakes assignments. So I have a writing project number 1. It's worth 20% of the grade. I've got different writing projects, and then I have low stakes assignments. I call my low stakes assignments preparatory work, so that students understand that they're using those assignments to prepare for the higher stakes assignments. And then if you decide to import assignments, it's really important, because the imports are worth 0, that you need to move these assignments, and you can drag them, or you can go here and move the contents, or, you know, somewhere else, so that the assignments are actually worth something. Okay, so that's something to remember. I want to look at I'm going to edit the assignment. I want to look at the groups and the weights. You want to make sure that this total equals 100. So here you can decide to unweight, or you can weight it. And these are what the weights are, but if I have nothing here and it's worth 65%, I need to make sure that I am making these things worth more so that it equals that 100%. Okay? You can also add a group at any time and then put the percentage there. Okay? I want to show you with quizzes, and then I want to show you files, and then we'll be done. So with quizzes, it's, like I said, it's sort of the same sort of idea. You can even search for a quiz. You can move quizzes around. So I am going to just open up a quiz here. You can preview it. You can edit it. There are choices here that you can make for the quiz where you can shuffle the answers. And if you shuffle the answers, then you need to make sure that you are not doing something that's going to be odd where that matters. You can give a time limit. You can allow multiple attempts or not allow multiple attempts. You can keep the highest score or the latest score, okay? Or you can average the score. You can let students see their quiz responses. Incorrect questions will be marked only after their last attempt, only once, or let them see the correct answers. You can show one question at a time, and you can decide to lock the question after answering so they can't go back. It's up to you. You can require an access code or filter IP address. So there's all sorts of things that you can choose for your particular quizzes here.
Okay.
All right, let me show you one more thing and then I will take questions. And again, a 1 hour session on Canvas is not enough, so please go look at the other tutorials that I provided at the very beginning of this session. Okay, so for files, you can upload files from your computer. You can organize files into folders. I don't have them organized here because this is just, I was just putting stuff in here, but you can organize them if you want. You can upload, and here I'm able to upload from my actual computer, and so you can have files there. And you can add folders. So if I wanted to do a folder and I wanted to make this folder visuals, then you can do that as well. Okay, so at this point in time, I would like to open it up for questions, but I am going to stay in the share page because I may have to go back here. So Monique, are there any questions first from you?
Yes. So hopefully I got every question. If not, please feel free to ask your question after. But here's the first question. So it says, what all do students get access to when they go through grades? What exactly needs to be published, and what do they need to see?
Okay. So if you go to assignments here, every assignment that is published, students will be able to see unless you have it locked. So I like to just unpublish if students aren't going to, if I don't want them to see it. So I routinely, when I transfer my stuff over, I unpublish things. Other people have open by, close by. So you could do it that way too. Other people have the conditional release. So it is up to you. But if you do not have any of those mechanisms and everything is published, then what students can do is that they can go, even if you don't have assignments visible, you do have grades visible, and they can go in through here and find any assignment that you have published and not locked. So that is really, really important for you to make sure that you have a way to keep that information away from students when you don't want them to have it. One of the reasons why I unpublish is because it's really quick and easy for me to see. And it just, I'm able to do the visual on it. And before I open up a new module, I go through and I take a look. So students can click on, you can click here and you can actually go to, they can go to the assignment. And you're not seeing it here because I need to go to student view.
I just thought the students won't be able to see anybody else's grade, just their own.
No, they will only be able to see.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So it's still published, but I mean, they could only see what is pertainable to them, right? That's it. That's my understanding. They could only
right, and you're correct. But the issue is that I don't want my students to get into assignments until I want them to. There are some students who figure this is an online course. I'm just going to go to my grades. I'm going to go to those assignments. I'm going to do them in any order that I want. Now, one of the reasons why I include my lecture materials right inside the assignment itself is just for that purpose. So this is a student view. So all these things are published. So anytime they want to, they can go in and they can open something up even if I don't have the module open. So it is really, really important that if you don't want them to see it, that you either lock the module and its contents, or you don't make it available for them to see, okay? So I can click on submit assignment. Go ahead.
Okay, so the next question, can you show us how to do the conditional release on modules?
Okay, yes, we'll do that again. I'm gonna leave, but you see when I clicked on the assignment, I have a bunch of different, I have different things there for them to look at and read. I do that on purpose so that they see the lecture materials. So let's go to modules. Okay, I'm gonna go to this module here. I'm gonna click on the 3 dots. It's taking a moment to get to those 3 dots. Try to click on it again. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna click on edit. Okay, so I just clicked on the title of the module. So you can lock it until a certain time. Okay, that's one thing you can do. Or you can add a prerequisite where they have to do this first before they're able to go to the next one. You could decide to add a requirement. You can decide to have students move through requirements in sequential order. Okay. If you do this one, I like to, in the actual name, I like to say, please note, you need to do these in sequential order so that students know that that's what you're having them do. Once they open everything up, though, they could literally just open, and that's fine, but they at least have to click on it. You may require that somebody needs to complete, mark as done, or contribute to the page, and you can add a requirement. You know, you could add all these requirements. So this is where you add the conditional release and the requirements. They're right here. Let me show you where I went again. It's right here in the title of the module, the 3 dots here, okay? I do want to remind you that you can add things to your module. How do you add things? You click on that plus, and you can add a quiz, a file, a page, a discussion, a text header, an external URL, or an external tool, okay? Let's look at a text header. You can type the text header, sample, and you can decide to indent. You can indent it 3 levels. I want to show you what that looks like. Or you can decide not to indent. Now you notice here, this text header is not indented, but these items are. So I like to have it be a visual for students. So here's a sample. This is indented 3 in. You can increase indent more so that it's straight with these items. Or you can decrease, etc. And then you can move it around wherever you want. Or you could go, and you can even move it to another module. Or you can which I did here, and you can remove it. Okay.
So Janet, really quick, do you need to publish the module if you do a conditional release using a specific date? I've tried a few weeks ago and it didn't release the module content. I'm trying to troubleshoot why it didn't open.
Okay, yes, it has to be published. If you can't, students will never be able to see anything that's not published, ever. So you do need to have it published if you're going to do the conditional release. Yeah. Any other questions?
Yes. Sorry, I'm navigating to my questions.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you, Monique, as
No
ever.
problem. How can you send the same message through announcements to multiple courses?
Okay, you'd have to have the courses connected. I don't do that, but you can actually, in fact, if you have two of the same type of class that are online, they're the same classes with the same assignments, the same due dates, you can connect those together. And if you want to be able to do that, I can share information about how to do that, but not right this minute because I have to look up the instructions, because there are some teachers who are doing the same exact classes. I mean, you wouldn't do it now, you'd do it before the class started because it would be too wonky. For announcements, I just copy and paste to the different. In fact, I have all my things open and I have the copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. So, yeah.
Okay,
But go ahead, Monique.
so the next question is, do you know if you minimize a module, does it minimize it for the students too, or just you?
Just you.
Okay.
Just you.
Is there a way to format Rubric so that points can be subtracted from their grade for certain errors without including it in the grading scale? Example, minimum word count not met, subtract 5 points without including page
No.
count.
Wouldn't that be great though? No. Nope. You have to connect it to the rubric. I know what you mean, and it's annoying. Yeah, no. Sorry.
And that was it.
All right. Well, I will tell you again, 1 hour is not enough. So hopefully you've learned a few things right now, and then you can learn some more items with the tutorials. But again, that Canvas grading, I'm going to show you way more there. And as you have questions, remember that you have your Canvas guides. Ask them questions. So I appreciate seeing everybody here today, and I hope you're doing well. And I hope that this was useful. Again, there's more, but poke around. Be curious. Don't be afraid to push a button about something, because if you push a button, that's when you learn. So, you know, find out what those 3 dots are doing. Poke around in the global navigation bar. Poke around in your other, in the course navigation bar. Those are the 2 bars to the left. The white one is in your class, the blue one is global. But poke around and see what these things do. And then you might find something that you do that I didn't share with you, because this was a quick and dirty showcase of Canvas. You may find things that you want to do that you're like, oh wow, now I know this really cool thing. So thank you again, everybody, and I appreciate seeing you as always, and I hope you have an amazing weekend. Keep cool. Hopefully we're going to be done with these heat waves, please, after this weekend. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was very
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Janet, can you stick around for a little bit? I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
Janet, could I ask